We're here in Bilbao at the San Mamés Stadium as Manchester United have lost 1-0 to Spurs in the Europa League Cup final. Shocking display of football, Crookie. I cannot think what Ruben Amorim was thinking. I don't understand the logic behind his input in this. And as for the players, the less said about them, the better, mate.
I don't know where to start, to be honest. Pathetic, embarrassing, gutless, headless, chaotic. Use any adjective you want. I've rarely felt lower, if ever, watching a Manchester United performance. You know, the team selection was baffling. You know, didn't get the best out of Bruno Fernandes, and actually he arguably had one of his poorest games of the season because he was being asked to play too deep and got frustrated because he couldn't really influence the game. Mason Mount was anonymous. Rasmus Højlund, I think, had 8 touches in the first half, proved again he's not good enough to be a Manchester United centre forward. Luke Shaw clearly wasn't fit, and I think that lack of match sharpness was a contributing factor to the Tottenham goal because he didn't get across quickly enough and stop the supply into his man. Obviously it ends up going in the back of the net offshore. We've got Onana fumbling in the goal mouth, getting tangled up in the net, not for the first time, probably not for the last time. And I've just spoken to Ruben Amorim. I've said to him in the press conference, how can you deny that this team has gone backwards? You can turn around and say, I came in mid-season, it's hard to improve the team in those circumstances. Vitor Pereira's done it at Wolverhampton Wanderers. That's just off the top of my head. That's your job. You came in because the previous manager was underperforming. Your job was to take this team forward. You're going to finish 16th or 17th in the Premier League. Worst season in 50 years domestically. You've got to a cup final. Your team haven't turned up in the cup final. You've been tactically outmanoeuvred by a manager in Ange Postecoglou who's been publicly pilloried because he's only got one way of playing. Well, he found a different way of playing.
He went to a back five and saw it out.
And ironically, he's come out on top against a manager who is clearly too wedded to his playing style. And that's before you get into the financial implications. This team needs a massive rebuild. Ruben Amorim's been pretty public about that. He's thrown the players under the bus on a regular basis. But how are you going to fund this rebuild now? How are you going to attract players now when you can't offer Champions League football? This is a disastrous night for Manchester United. I know I'm ranting here. And it's not just on Ruben Amorim, but I do think we're going to have to start asking questions of the manager now. But it comes back to Ineos and the chaos in the summer when they held a beauty parade because they didn't have faith in Erik ten Hag. They decided to keep Erik ten Hag, mainly because nobody else wanted the job at that stage, and I'd include Ruben Amorim in that. But the players sensed the manager was weak, so they basically got him fired with their performances. Dan Ashworth comes to the football club, the self-proclaimed best in class, according to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He doesn't agree with the decision to appoint Ruben Amorim, so he loses his job. Ineos have overseen a disaster of a season. We're the laughing stock of the Premier League.
Laughing stock of the world.
And we've lost to Tottenham in a cup final. Tottenham don't win cups.
17 years, their first trophy in 17 years. And for me, I agree with everything you said there, Crookie, and it's the manner of that performance. Total waste of time. Before the goal happened, Man United were comfortable. Wasn't great. Poor spectacle of football, but we were comfortable. Nothing happening. One little bit of chaos, one little bit of lack of concentration. Where was the urgency out the starting blocks at the half time? What did Ruben Amorim say to those players? Because they just let minute by minute tick off. And Ruben Amorim looked at it and went, it's the 71st minute it took to get a substitution. You could see it wasn't working with Mason Mount. You could see Bruno was too deep. You could see he needed to get Garnacho on that pitch. You could see, yes, I know Joshua Zirkzee, how long is he going to have left in him? Force him. You forced him to get on the plane and give you something. Bring him on at half-time. We saw what Rasmus Højlund did at Chelsea. How did we think he was going to do against Christian Romero and Mickey van der Ven?
We've seen what Rasmus Højlund's been doing all season. This is not a one-off performance, and I feel sorry for the bloke because he really wants it. He knows what it means to be a Manchester United player. He's not good enough. And again, that comes down to shoddy recruitment. It comes down to bad ownership. The Glazers were on the pitch before the game. I noticed they weren't shown on the big screen, I'd imagine that was by design because they would have known the reaction that they would have got. Sir Jim Ratcliffe was there. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is overseeing this once great football club crumbling. And I really don't see how they pick themselves up from here. No European football next season. A team who were just used to winning matches. And by the way, I thought the team selection was telling. Garnacho's gone on social media before the game. Yeah. On Instagram, he's posted pictures of himself scoring in big cup finals. He's furious, and rightly so, that he continually gets overlooked for a striker who never scores. That's because they're going to sell him. Kobbie Mainoo doesn't get on the pitch until stoppage time. That's because Ineos would sell him. These are two players who come through the academy that these owners are going to profit on.
Especially now.
And use PSR as an excuse. I really fear for the future.
Can Ruben Amorim survive this, Crookie? Listen, we are emotional now, right? And when it's like this, you don't want to say things that you regret the next day or regret the next week, etc., etc. And I've really tried to refrain from being in that mindset, but it's really difficult. We're hearing it, we're in the mix of it. This has just happened. Can he survive this? He's talking about if they feel they want a different guy. I won't even talk about compensation. I
believe that when I see it.
Exactly. But I'm not quitting. Made that clear.
Yeah. And listen, respect to him for that, because actually the easy option would have been to stay at Sporting.
Absolutely.
If he knew what a disaster zone he was walking into, and I wonder, did he do proper due diligence, because it does seem to have taken even him by surprise. He obviously feels like his methods will work. In response to the question I asked him about have you taken the club backwards, he pointed out certain games. Forest was one, Wolverhampton Wanderers at home was another, where actually we created chances and we should have got more out of it. But that's not enough to show for it. If you're supposed to be this European super coach, it's the lack of a plan B tonight. Postecoglou, we've battered him for 2 years because it's what we do, mate. But actually, when it came to the crunch, it wasn't what we do, because we've seen from Spurs in the knockout stages of this competition, they've been much more pragmatic. They were away from home against Frankfurt, they were away from home against Bodo Glimt, and they were tonight. 27% possession. United have 15 shots.
By design as well.
Tottenham have 3.
They sat back, and that's the thing, the lack of respect for United, and rightly so, to say, let them have it.
Yeah.
This is a Spurs side that can't defend. Yeah. This is a Spurs side that has a high line and a high press at all moments of the game. And when we see Ange, like I said, literally tactically pulling Ruben Amorim's pants down. Let's be honest, he's beaten him 3 times already. 3 times, Carabao Cup, Premier League, and now this, in different ways. And Ange went, you know what? We got to about 70th minute. I'll take Johnson off, put Danso right back. We'll go to back 5. We'll beat him at their own system.
And that just adds to the humiliation.
Exactly.
So can he survive? It's a massive summer. Mateus Cunha's going to join. We're pretty certain on that. Liam Delap's a problem now, because I was told he wanted to play Champions League football. Not going to get that at Old Trafford. Emi Martinez, they're trying to attract again. I think he would want to go and play Champions League football. I've already spoken about the fact I think they're going to try and sell the 2 academy players, which would be, which against everything this football club stands for. He's got to have a good summer, where he's got a full pre-season now to work on the training pitch, to get his methods across, to get his own players in. They've got to hit the ground running. If we're 10 games into next season and he's lost 6 of them, he should be in trouble.
And that's the thing now. There's going to be people even putting Ruben's head on a spike in pre-season games. That's how bad it's got. We are, for me, I don't mean this sensationally. Honestly, Crookie, as a United fan, I'm looking at, we are in the pits of hell.
Yeah, we are.
Like, we are in the pits of hell with nowhere to turn, nowhere to hide, and no real direction of how to get out of it. And you're so right about Ineos. I'm looking at them at that board level, and I'm like, they don't have a clue. And this is about to get worse. If it can, it will. This is about to get worse. This has been Inside Devils, guys.
Can I just pick up one?
Yeah, absolutely.
The one player I think deserves credit from tonight, Lenny Yoro, I thought was exceptional. Didn't know if he was fully fit. He's been chucked in at the deep end in the European final. He's one signing they have got right. I thought he was comfortably United's man of the match. Maybe Ahmad in the first half, but he emptied out pretty quickly. I thought Lenny Yoro deserves a lot of respect on his name tonight.
Yeah, and it's really difficult to find any form of glimmer of light, but I definitely agree with that. Guys, let us know what you guys are thinking about after this shockingly bad performance and embarrassing state of play here in Bilbao and for Manchester United. What is the future for Manchester United? Where do we turn? Can Ruben Amorim survive this? What do you guys think? Let us know.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.